Hello and welcome to another Tabletop Games Blog Saturday review.
Over the weekend during a hot July in Germany, at a different but much cooler location compared to last year, around 16,000 people attended the big summer board game festival for gamers, geeks and the whole family, as the event describes itself. Located in my home city, the convention I'm talking about is, of course, Berlin Brettspiel 2024. This year the show moved to a very modern and fully air-conditioned location. In previous years, Berlin Brettspiel had suffered from sweltering heat in halls that don't have the facilities to keep conditions cool. The buildings of the old train station that comprise Station Berlin created a wonderfully cozy and charming atmosphere, but just got too hot. The modern Estrel Convention Center has a much cooler feel. It reminds me more of American-style conventions, but its air conditioning kept temperatures inside cool. At no point did I feel hot despite the number of visitors and the high temperatures outside. The layout of the convention halls and rooms worked well. The two main exhibition spaces, Hall 2 and Saal Europa, were next to each other and had connecting doors to go directly from one area to the other. While smaller exhibitors were mostly in the smaller Saal Europa and the bigger names were in Hall 2, it didn't really feel like there was a hard physical separation between the two. You could easily go from one to the other and enjoy both areas equally. The open gaming area was in Hall 1, a short walk from the exhibitor space. In between was the family area, which featured a Lego exhibition and toys and games from publisher Harbour. At the other end of the convention space was the Estrel-Saal, which hosted the Bring and Buy sale. Next to that was the stage area for the very busy seminar program. All in all, everything was grouped nicely together. So while you had to walk along the tall wide corridors to go between the main areas, nothing was too far away from each other to make it feel like you were leaving the convention altogether and re-entering it somewhere else. I had a number of people and publishers on my list whom I wanted to see while at Berlin Brettspiel. First of all, I wanted to say hello to Uli Blennemann from Spielworks. After all, under my Make My Game Travel moniker, I was working on the translation of the currently crowdfunding game Epos Agentes Game from German into English. I went to see him first thing on Saturday morning to catch up and see a physical copy of the game set up on the main table of their stand. As you can imagine, it was amazing to finally see the game that I played a small part in for real. I won't review Epos, but I do strongly recommend you check it out. It looks amazing in the giant box it comes in should give you a good idea of how much playtime you'll get out of it. On top of the base game, there are 8 scenarios that you can play independently of each other, or as one large campaign. There's also a solo mode. So yes, it's a massive project, the biggest Spielworks has so far worked on. While I was there, I also had to make sure I would say hello to Heike and Stefan Resthaus of Ostia Spiele. While Stefan is the designer of Epos, Ostia Spiele is an independent publisher of a number of great games from a wide range of types and genres. I couldn't resist buying their Mintin game Tea or Café because, well, I love Mintin games. I can't wait to give it a go soon. Over the weekend I visited a lot of stands and got many demos. So rather than talking about the publishers, let me tell you about the games I saw. In fact, let me start with the 3 games I brought back with me. Apart from Tee oder Kaffee, I also bought Schnitzeljagd, the German version of Pray Another Day. The wonderful team at Edition Spielwiese showed me how to play this really quick and simple bluffing card game. I will review it in due course, but let me say that you do have to play it with the right group of people. If you take it too seriously, it won't work. It's about table talk and banter. I also bought a copy of Pixies from Bombix. While I didn't get a demo myself, I watched others being taught and really enjoyed what I saw. It's similar to the other small box games in the publisher's catalogue in its length and weight. It's a really simple card drafting game where you try to get cards of matching colours adjacent to each other and score points off of those patterns, as well as points marked on the cards themselves. There are even negative points. The illustrations are really wonderful again, featuring photos of tiny handmade woodland fairy creatures. I also got a brief overview of the sci-fi tabletop miniature skirmish game Snapship's Tactics from Grimspire, where you each get a space fighter which you can upgrade by snapping on little guns, modules and other bits and pieces. The upgrades you select are represented by cards that you add to your tableau. You spend tokens to activate these cards to maneuver your ship and attack the opponent. The twist is that your ship will always move because you're in space and have momentum. I also met quite a few designers. Apart from Heike and Stefan Risthaus, it was also really wonderful to meet Jeffrey Ellis for the first time in person. He was demoing Pandoria to me on the Iron Games stand. Bernd Eisenstein joined us as well, and it was great to see that this wonderful tiling game is getting a reprint and refresh. In the open gaming area, Juma Al-Juju from Karma Games told me about the upcoming expansion to Clans of Caledonia. Industria moves the game forward in time to the Industrial Revolution and introduces new tiles, modular game boards and additional action selection spaces, and mechanisms that create a completely new player experience. I can't wait to give it a go when it comes out. I was also able to catch up with Matthew Dunstan, who was there because the German version of the Guild of Merchant Explorers, a game he co-designed with Brett J. Gilbert, was nominated for the Kennerspiel des Jahres. It was so great to see him again and talk to him about all sorts of things board game related. Generally speaking, it was wonderful to have time to properly talk with people. The location certainly works well, even though it cannot match the charm of the old halls. People were able to stay at the Estrel Hotel, meaning they could quickly nip back to rest or stay up late to play games, and simply wander next door to find their bed when they were finally ready to call it a day. So yes, Berlin Brettspiel Con 2024 was certainly a success, and I can't wait to come back again next year.
Thank you for listening to this Tabletop Games Blog's Saturday Review podcast. Please check the description below for links mentioned in this episode, as well as to the written version of this article on the blog. If you enjoyed this episode, please subscribe, give us some stars or leave a review. Please also tell your friends about me, and if you want to offer financial support, check out my Patreon and Ko-fi pages, links to which you'll find in the blog at tabletopgamesblog.com. So thank you again for listening, and I hope to see you again soon.
This podcast was made possible by the generous help of my supporters. Royal Patron Sean Newman, Magic Champion John Risley, Castle Guards David Miller and James Naylor, Dice Masters Alex Bardi, Paul Grogan and Robin Kay, and Shining Lights Jacob Davis, Gavin Jones, Sarah Reed and Richard Simpson.